It's Speedweek season. Yes, that time of year where every night we have a sprint car race, multiple sprint car races along the way as well. And it is the most wonderful, fun time of the year for sprint car fans. Speedweek season, usually here in the month of June into July. Ohio just wrapped up their Speed Weeks a few days ago. What a great, great time the All-Stars had in Ohio. This weekend, the Showdown is going on. While not a Speed Week by name, it's very similar up at Huset's and Jackson for the Jackson Nationals or the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars and the Midwesterners. And this weekend, it is Pennsylvania's turn. It is Pennsylvania Sprint Speed Week, presented by Red Robin Gourmet Burgers. I'm Steve Post here from Wing Nation in the Hercules Tire Studios, and this is Wing Nation, presented by Dryden and DRF Racing Oils, all by myself because, well, Ashley and Aaron, they are doing live shows at the 43rd running of the Jackson Nationals, so you can follow along on our social media channels and Dryden to see what kind of mischief Aaron and Ashley are into up in Jackson, Minnesota. What a great, great spot that is. What a great weekend of racing. And this weekend also kicks off Pennsylvania Speed Week. It starts Friday night at Williams Grove. Alan Kreitzer, let's see, his title is Member of the Pennsylvania Sprint Speed Week Association. Talked to Alan multiple times. Selinsgrove Speedway, Lincoln Speedway, and all around involved up in the state of Pennsylvania. And that's who we're chatting with to set the stage for Pennsylvania Sprint Speed Week. We're doing that here this time on Wing Nation. Before we do that, though, and one of the challenges we have here at Wing Nation is selecting our Dryden move of the week, our death-defying move of the week. But our main man, Craig Moore, does a good job every week. And here is this week's death-defying move of the week.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track move.
This time by, the white flag will fly. One to go for Danny Dietrich and Hunter Schulenberg down to the inside. Three-car battle for the lead. Paul McMahon goes around the outside down to back stretch. Final two left-hand turns coming up. Off of turn number 4, Paul McMahon will win the D-Dental Memorial.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Def, the official DEF of the World of Outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
For decades, Dryden Lubricants has been made in America and made to last, paving the way on our highways, in our fields, and on the production line. Today, Dryden offers a complete line of engine oils, greases, hydraulic and transmission fluids, and diesel exhaust fluid. If you want greater performance and protection for your critical engines and equipment, go to Dryden.com. Dryden, American-owned and operated, and a proud supporter of racing and race fans everywhere. Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTires.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTires.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength. Wing Nation, presented by Dryden and DRF Oils. Let's go to the Sage Fruit Hotline, joining us from up in the great state of Pennsylvania. I hope he's getting his rest now because starting this weekend, he will not get any rest, nor will anybody in the sprint car world. A member of the Pennsylvania Sprint Speed Week Association, Alan Kreitzer's on the line. Hello, Alan. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Hey, Steve. Thank you very much. Good to talk to you.
All right, so are you rested up? Are all of the T's crossed and all of the I's dotted as we get ready for Speed Week starting tomorrow night at Williams Grove?
We are ready for 10 straight nights of all-out sprint car racing here in PA. We start, as you say, Friday evening at Williams Grove with a 6,000 to win show, and then it just goes up from there.
There's a lot of ground right in that answer that I want to cover. First off, 10 straight days. A lot of times Speed Weeks will maybe have one day in there for a rainout or a rest day. The idea of 10 straight days, what's the reaction to that? Is that, everyone cool with that?
Well, I guess it depends what you say. Last year, I believe we had about 12 teams that competed in every show.
Yeah.
which I thought was really outstanding to have that many events and have that good of support that everybody could make all those shows, because it is grueling for the teams. I mean, there's no question about it. But that's one of the things that makes this series unique, is that they run this many high competitive shows in 10 straight days, and some of the best purses of the year, as far as the payouts go. So it's very critical to the teams for their success of the year. And they do gear up for it. There's no question about that. They get ready, but it tends to be grueling. So as you say, I have my rest, and I hope they do as well.
Alan, it's always fascinating to me because we'll talk to a driver from Pennsylvania, whether it's a driver that is struggling or a driver that's running well, that really gets onto their game in the second half, okay? I'm this guy where I'm like, there is no way I can't even imagine doing Speed Week. There is always somebody that hits on something during Speed Week, and maybe they win in Speed Week, or maybe they go on to win some big races later in the year, and they'll always come on Wing Nation and say, we struck on something during Speed Week that we started to chase that worked on the race car. I think that while it's grueling, I think our sprint car racers like the repetition of racing night after night as well.
I do too, because I think they can maintain a focus. And as you say, they hit upon something with their setup because they're there every night. They just race and race and race, which, let's be honest, what's made the World of Outlaw competitors so good all these years? They race so much. Granted, they're the best guys. They have the best teams. But the fact that you race that much and you're able to try different setups while your focus is still maintained night after night, I think that's really a big thing, as you suggested, that a guy can maybe hit on something, and then not only does he do well in Speed Week, but it enables him to do better the second half of the year.
I had not put the analogy together on that with the World of Outlaws, and that's exactly what it is, and it always amazes me because I'm like, I don't know after you get to about the sixth night of Speed Week how you can learn anything other than where you're going to sleep in the trailer. And yet, you're right. They do tend to find those morsels and those nuggets of information. I think it is that focus, and it's amazing. It really, truly is amazing. When we look at the schedule this year, well, actually, you mentioned it. Let's go down the purse rows, okay? This thing, the money has really grown in this. 2 races that pay $6,000, 3 races that pay $7,000, 2 races that pay $10,000, a $7,500, a $9,200, and a $15,000 race, the Mitch Smith Memorial next Friday night at Williams Grove. It just seems to me like this thing is being elevated, and purses along the way are coming up to support these racers.
I agree. Every year we've been able to do that, and the purses have really taken a big jump the last couple of years. And the only way that that's possible is the support of the greatest sprint car fans in the country right here in Pennsylvania. They really get into this series. They support their racers. They support the speedways. A lot of people just plan their vacations around this series. We do get a lot of outsiders to come into Pennsylvania as far as fans and competitors for this series. So that's helpful also. But it's really good you see the Camper Nation following event to event. It's really a nice deal. This time of year in Pennsylvania, it can be hot, but the weather's generally pretty good. And it just makes a nice 10 days.
And that's one thing I've noticed about when you go to Speed Weeks. We talk a lot about the tracks or the organizers like yourselves, and we sympathize and talk about the teams and the amount of work and the grueling nature of it. But you're right. There are campers and fans that come in, and they are going to get. I'll see it occasionally. Once in a while, I will dare to tread where no one wants to tread. I'll go on to Hosehead's Fan Forum. Okay, it's kind of that weird area we all kind of once in a while will acknowledge and go. And every year there's someone on there that says, I'm going to Pennsylvania Speed Week for the first time. Where should I camp? Where should I go? Where should I stay? And I think that's fascinating. And it's just really neat to see fans embrace this as they do.
No doubt about it. As far as an outsider that has heard or read about sprint car racing in Pennsylvania, they come in for a 10-day period. They see our best speedways, the best facilities, some of the biggest fields of the year, racing for the largest payoffs of the year. So if you're going to earmark a time to come to PA, this really covers a lot of bases for a race fan.
Covers a lot of bases and covers a lot of grounds. One of the big questions that we have had year after year after year was BAPS Motor Speedway down there. And finally, we've been able to figure a way to get them on the schedule. How important was that for you, Alan, as we move forward? Last year was so weird with COVID and everything, but BAPS back on the schedule. That's been a positive addition for sure.
Oh, I think it's going to be a huge event. That will be Sunday, June 27th. We return to BAPS Motor Speedway. And, of course, Susquehanna, which was the former name, has a large history in Pennsylvania Speedweek, and it was just a matter of getting them back in. This year, the way the calendar fell, we have July 4th, on a Sunday night. So that means that everybody has off work Monday. So we do like to take a day off for the teams to allow them to at least get back to somewhat normal before they all have to head back to work. So with Selinsgrove switching from the first Sunday to the July 4th Sunday, that left an opening for June 27th, and BAPS was right there to fill the need. And I think it'll be great to see Speed Week back at BAPS, and I really anticipate that that's going to be a big event.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, and that is neat. I knew the schedule in Selinsgrove had moved back for the 4th of July, and how that falls is really cool. So we've added BAPS in. We have the three hallmark tracks up in Pennsylvania: the fabulous Lincoln Speedway, the Speed Palace at Port Royal, and Williams Grove. We occasionally get into debate about, everyone likes to compare things, and I don't know that you can compare everything in the world. The idea that those tracks have two, how did we get there, Alan? And obviously we're staying there, supporting those racetracks that are the big sprint car supporters. But can you kind of just walk us through how we've arrived at the two dates for the three primary tracks up there?
Sure. The way that works, what makes Pennsylvania Speed Week different from, let's say, Ohio Speed Week? Ohio Speed Week is sanctioned by the All-Stars, who do a great job. It's a great series. In Pennsylvania, it's a little different. We don't have a sanctioning body that does this. Pennsylvania Speed Week is actually a confederation, I would say, a loose confederation of all the tracks that are in central Pennsylvania that got together and said, hey, let's do something special over the July 4th holiday. So what we did, we standardized the payoffs, to try to increase those. We standardized the race procedures. But there isn't a sanctioning group that does this. Therefore, each individual speedway has a vested interest in how this series goes. And it's incumbent upon us to keep the three sprint car tracks that support 410 sprint car racing all year long to benefit by this series. Because you have Lincoln, Port Royal, and Williams Grove that don't only compete in Pennsylvania Speed Week, they're running 410 sprint car races on cold, windy night in April and paying the purse that they posted. So if you would have the three main tracks, Lincoln, Port Royal, and Williams Grove, with one scheduled event, if that event were to be rained out, they'd be out of Speed Week altogether. And that is something that we felt that the tracks that support 410 sprint car racing and make 410 sprint car racing in central Pennsylvania the success that it is should be the keystones of this series.
That is fantastic. I had kind of put all of that together loosely in my mind and hadn't even factored in a rainout. But you're right, because the season up there starts in March and February over at Lincoln in March, and then you have those nights in September and October when Williams Grove has got to go head to head with high school football, and so that clarifies and answers a lot of that question that we get all the time with Speed Week. So when we look at the Pennsylvania landscape, of course, we've got Speed Week coming up, and Alan, you're still involved at Lincoln Speedway. At one time had a little bit of an interest up in Selinsgrove as well, but you have been central Pennsylvania sprint car racing. We look at the tracks that we have with the three big ones. We got BAPS, we got Grandview, we got Hagerstown. There's so many options up there. You've got Path Valley, Bloomsburg has a new track, Big Diamond, Trailways. Is there kind of a waiting list for people to try to get into this as well, or what are the conversations, or do you have conversations with those tracks that don't quite make the make the list each year?
Well, and it isn't a fact. We do have conversations, and those speedways that you mentioned are certainly interested in a Speed Week date. But to go back to one of your earlier comments, how many days are enough?
Yeah.
for the race teams. I mean, you get into 8, 9, 10 straight days of racing. That's really stretching our teams to the limit. And to go more than that, it would just be, I think you get into a point where it would be counterproductive. One thing we did last year, we actually changed our point fund, and we continued that this year. As opposed to paying the top 10 point finishers, we have a guaranteed payoff, $6,000 to win, $3,000 per second, so on for the top 5. But then the next 7 drivers and teams that compete in all 10 events, the next 7 highest in points receive $1,000. So you have to make it reasonable. We want to encourage the teams to make every event, but you can't make it so burdensome that they can't do it.
Yeah, 10's enough, that's for sure. But they'll be waving.
Yeah, there aren't too many teams at the end of this thing, come July 4th at Sealands Grove, at the end of the night that say, gee, I wish we were racing 3 more nights,
I can imagine. That is for sure. That is for sure. Alan, your situation up there in Pennsylvania, and I alluded to it a little bit. You were the longtime main guy at Lincoln Speedway. Jerry Parrish come in, and he's now the main guy there. You're the kind of consultant, the minority interest holder up there. What's it been like to be? I'm a semi-retired. Is that the case? What's that transition been like for you now, a year or two down the road?
Well, my phone doesn't ring nearly as much, which is nice. From different situations or problems that may arise, and Jerry handles the day-to-day things at Lincoln, so he gets into all that. But it's been fun for me because I still am able to be involved. I enjoy it very much. I still love to watch 410 sprint cars. And it has just given me kind of a pathway, Steve, to exit on my own terms. So my situation at Lincoln is I have 3 more years that I will be involved, and then there's a finite period where I will step away. But it's been a great transition for me, frees me up a little bit to do some other things. For a long time, I operated at least 2 speedways and sometimes 3. So to step back a little bit isn't a bad thing for me.
No, it really isn't. Final topic or general broad topic, want to kind of cover with you as an insider, as a guy so ingrained in the Central Pennsylvania sprint car world. The health of sprint car racing up in Central Pennsylvania. As I sit here, you've got your big teams, the guys we talk to and talk about all the time. I am seeing a bevy of family teams and new winners. Aaron Bollinger picked up the win at Lincoln a few weeks back, and Jeff Halligan is stepping up and winning races. What is the state of sprint car racing, 410 sprint car racing in Central Pennsylvania? How is it up there?
Well, I'd say right now it's pretty healthy. As you alluded to, there's a lot of new teams that are very, very competitive. And I think one of the biggest changes that we've seen in 410 sprint car racing in general, and especially here in Central Pennsylvania, there are so many teams now that are competitive. Everybody seems to have the same equipment. They have it. They can purchase equipment that puts them right up front. The drivers get a little experience. And we have some young guys at Lincoln that are just tremendous, very exciting to watch. They're on the pedal. They're learning as they go. Every lap you can see improvement. Because we all know that in 410 sprint car racing, it does take experience and laps to get really good. But it's been a lot of fun to watch. I think this year at Lincoln, we have 10 different winners, which is really incredible. So that's been a change. Whereas maybe, going back 15, 20 years ago, there were 4 or 5 really good teams in Central Pennsylvania that won the bulk of the event. Now, it's just wide open. You have all these kids coming up. Look at the Anthony Macri team, the improvement that he made. And then you have Lance DeWeese with the super team with Donnie Kreitzer and Davey Brown, and they don't race every week. So that puts another twist into it. And even for Speedweek, they won't compete in every race because their team just isn't set up for that. But when he's there, he's the guy to watch. We have some outsiders that will come in. mix the thing up a little bit. But honestly, Steve, I think you're right. This year for Speed Week, it's as wide open as I've ever seen it.
Yeah, we had Paul McMahon on. We had Paul McMahon on to preview Ohio Speed Week a couple of weeks back. And then he said, well, I'm also doing Pennsylvania Speed Week because I've done California Speed Week, Ohio Speed Week, and Paul McMahon. Of course, that's the CJB team that's based up there in Pennsylvania. But adding Paul McMahon to the mix, it is going to be exciting. That is for sure. Alan, is there a place people can follow along, or what's the best way for people to follow along with this, or make sure they get the tickets into the individual tracks? How best for people to jump in on this thing?
The best way they can follow us is to go to PASpeedweeks.com. That's our website. We have a lot of history on there. We have the schedule for the 2021. There are phone numbers for the individual speedways, or the websites, the individual speedways. That's the best way for fans to keep up and get information.
I said last question, last topic, but there's something far more important, food. And I see Red Robin Gourmet Burgers is back. They have been just a tremendous addition up in Pennsylvania, and they're part of the Speed Week festivities as well.
We are so pleased to have Red Robin as a sponsor for the second straight year. You know, like any other restaurant chain or restaurant industry, they certainly had problems the last year or so with the pandemic. But now that things are opening up again, in Pennsylvania, we're wide open now. Unlimited seating in the restaurants, and we are very happy to have Red Robin involved, and I'm glad you pointed that out.
I love their burgers. Hey, man, boy, I'm telling you what, when I get up there, I hit a Red Robin every time. We actually have one not too far from the studio that I've snuck into a time or two, but I appreciate the Lehigh Valley Restaurant Group and their support up there with Red Robin Gourmet Burgers. Alan, we appreciate the time. We look forward to following along all week long with Pennsylvania Sprint Speed Week starting tomorrow night at Williams Grove Speedway.
Postman, I always enjoy speaking with you, and thank you for everything.
There we go. Alan Kreitzer joining us from the Pennsylvania Sprint Speed Week Association, and we're going to set you up with that and a whole lot more coming up on Wing Nation. Over the years, Dryden has stood for uncompromised value and proven performance. Known as the hardest working brand in heavy-duty lubrication, Dryden's heritage is made in America and made to last. Dryden products work to increase the life and enhance the efficiency of your equipment in the toughest conditions. Learn more about Dryden's products at Dryden.com. From grassroots racing to NASCAR, Dryden is a proud supporter of racing everywhere. For a year-round high-quality eating experience, look no further than Sage Fruit apples, pears, and cherries. Not only is their produce healthy, but they are grown with such care and precision that you can count on each piece of fruit having exceptional flavor. Sage Fruit, it's our first choice for quick and easy snacking. Flow Racing is the home of grassroots racing, with over 1,300 races streaming live in 2021. Watch the Lucas Oil Chili Bowl, World 100, Dirt Late Model Dreams, Sweet 16, and much, much more. Subscribe today by going to flowracing.com/MRN. From sprint cars on dirt to SK Modifieds on pavement, arena cross, drag racing, and everything in between, it's here live and on demand. Subscribe today by going to flowracing.com/MRN. That's FLOracing.com/MRN. Wing Nation, presented by Dryden, by DRF Racing Oils. Let's take a look at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame birthday calendar. Little light on birthdays this time. Tuesday would have been Speedy Bill Smith's birthday. Wednesday, Bill Wilkerson. Later on this week, Doug Auld. Kramer Williamson's birthday would have been on Saturday. The Pink Panther and Lloyd Axel Sunday. But the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, one sprint car place in Knoxville, Iowa. A spectacular location. If you're going out to Knoxville for any of the races coming up, the Knoxville Nationals, make sure you carve out some time to spend time at the Sprint Car Hall of Fame, and you can become a supporting member of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum for only $25. You can join, get you free admission to the museum, 10% discount on museum store merchandise, and all of the benefits of membership, and just $25 to know you are supporting that wonderful organization. The upcoming schedule Well, Pennsylvania Speedweek is certainly going to be on our radar screen. On our immediate radar screen, especially with Wing Nation, is the 43rd edition of the AGCO Jackson Nationals. It starts tonight up at Jackson Motorplex, and it starts with Aaron and Ashley with Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit, the pre-race show. It is on our Facebook page, it is on the Dirt Vision Facebook page, and it is on Dirt Vision as well. And that is a pre-race show all 3 nights of the AGCO Jackson Nationals. It's going to be a big weekend up in Jackson, Minnesota. Not only with that, the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars racing for $50,000 to win. Oh, they're going to have pancake breakfast every morning. They've got a craft fair. Tomorrow, Friday, the AGCO Open House at the Intivity Center is a really neat Q&A session that Ashley and Aaron are going to do with some of the top drivers. So you want to make your way over there and see all the great things. AGCO, what a fabulous company, right there next door to the Speedway. So it's not that far out of the way. If you're camping there at the racetrack, you can make the walk over there. But the AGCO Open House 5K run and walk, it is the Jackson Nationals, and it is going to be great. We're going to be keeping an eye on that, but we're also going to keep an eye to the upper Northwest, where the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour is racing the Jim Raper Memorial Dirt Cup at Skagit Speedway. $15,000 to win. Boy, I am telling you, and the ASCS National Tour, what a thriller this has been this year as they have raced and now spending a little time up there in the Pacific Northwest. There is weekly racing action at virtually every track that hosts weekly racing action. Friday night racing, Atomic, Attica, River City. Saturday night, Butler, Fremont, Sharon, St. Francis, Twin City Raceway Park, and Indiana has a race. Wayne County, Angel Park has the IRA Sprints on Sunday night, Tri-County Speedway, and again, Pennsylvania Speedweeks. This weekend, Friday night, Williams Grove. Saturday night, the fabulous Lincoln Speedway. Sunday, the return to Baps Motor Speedway. Lincoln, Grandview, Port Royal, Hagerstown, Williams Grove, Port Royal, and it all ends on July 4th at Sealands Grove Speedway. I think I'm getting tired talking about it, let alone following along with it. It is going to be some great racing all Speed Week long up in Pennsylvania and all Jackson Nationals long up in Jackson, Minnesota. Make sure you follow along all weekend long with us here on Wing Nation for the live shows on our Facebook page and on Dirt Vision and all of the shenanigans that I am fairly confident Aaron and Ashley will get into up in Jackson, Minnesota. Wing Nation apparel and gear is available at www.wingnation.com. That's wingnation.com. Or when the All-Stars come to town, they are available on the souvenir rig there as well. We appreciate you joining us. Again, follow along on our social media channels all weekend long. And we appreciate Alan Kreitzer as well from the Pennsylvania Sprint Speedweek Association joining us here. Thanks again for joining us. It's Wing Nation presented by Dryden and by DRF Oil.